I had been sane. Never showed many signs of going, well, crazy. It wasn't until the unfortunate loss of my friend Jimmy that I had been a bit different. You see, Jimmy was into the whole supernatural thing, which of course I never really cared for until one fateful day. October 15th, 1986. It was a crisp, cloudy Thursday morning in October. I was walking to school as usual when I noticed a strange-looking object floating in a large puddle. It was a tube of a foul-smelling and tasting liquid. I figured I'd play a joke on my old pal, Jimmy. When it came to lunch, I slipped the strange liquid and started complaining that his milk was sour. I giggled to myself silently, thinking he would only have an upset stomach. I had no idea what would come. October 19th, 1986. Jimmy hadn't spoken to anyone in days, not even his parents. At first, I figured it was because of the milk incident. It was, but not in the way I had thought. I noticed strange scars on his cheeks, but dismissed them as minor flesh wounds. I pleaded for him to speak to me. Just one word. I got that word, and it was run. November 9th, 1986. The fact that Jimmy hadn't been at school for weeks deeply worried me. Of course, it wasn't until today that I had even seen him. He was crawling. He looked pretty banged up. I noticed odd markings on his back. There were 6 identically spaced circles. He was badly bruised and was bleeding pretty badly. I was elated just to see him. I asked what happened. He yelled furiously, "Get away!" I felt heartbroken over those words, so I did as he said, and fled home. November 21st, 1986. I saw Jimmy again today, but not in the way I had hoped. He was crawling, just as a while ago. It was dusk this time, and I was running up to talk to him. I wish I hadn't. Into his milk carton, when his back was turned. He chugged his milk. Night hit, and everything became dark. The person I once saw as my friend began to change. Large black fangs erupted from his cheekbones as his jaw unhinged. He sprouted 6 long spider-like legs that carried him into the air about 8 feet off the ground. His flesh grew incredibly pale as claws began exploding from his fingertips. Was this a nightmare? I screamed at the top of my lungs and sprinted away, scrambling home. November 22nd, 1986. I had finally decided to go research what was causing this mess. I did the thing any preteen kid would. Ask the doctor. When I told him the story, he sounded worried, and he asked how it happened. I lied and blamed some random person. He asked me to leave, and fast. November 30th, 1986. I'd been feeling sick lately. My mother had given me hot tea and the newspaper to read. Reports of a large, shadowy figure, plus a few blurry photos, causing a massacre at the school. I was so happy I wasn't there. Most of the staff, including the principal, was brutally murdered. Evidence shows by multiple stab wounds in the forehead, read the article. I had to end this. I had to kill my friend. December 19th, 1986. All of my plans had been ruined. I'd woken up to a familiar fanged face. It was midnight. I wasn't in my house. I was engulfed by utter darkness. My friend had gotten worse. His eyes were a horrifying bright red, and as I stared, he moved in really close and breathed the single familiar word. Run. I realized where I was now. I was in the school. Despite my best attempts at running. 2 legs is nothing compared to 8. He pounced on me, crushing my left leg. The police began showing up. Jimmy swore that if he went, I was going with him. He stabbed his fangs into my good leg. I screamed like a child. Bullets flooded the air as I saw my friend take down entire squad cars. He was unstoppable. I blacked out, and when I woke up, about a day later, I found that Jimmy had won the struggle. Present day. Jimmy's whereabouts are currently unknown. As for my legs, I needed crutches for a while, but I managed to recover. I grew up to be confident in everything that I did. This experience has changed me for the better. Now, if you'll excuse me, it's getting late. I need to go eat.